Greetings, it's Iain from M.I.U here. Welcome to Marathon Wednesday, and this is part 2 of the Beach Boys album ranking. Last week we went from 29 to number 15. This week we will do number 14 to number 1. So before we start, we'll just have a recap where we've got to. So 29 was the Stars and Stripes Volume 1. 28 was 15 Big Ones. Number 27 was Summer in Paradise. 26 was That's Why God Made the Radio. 25 was M.I.U. Number 24, the Beach Boys Christmas album. Number 23, L.A. Light album. 22 was Still Cruisin'. 21 was Holland. 20 was Keeping the Summer Alive. Number 19 was Carl and the Passion So Tough. 18 was Beach Boys Party. 17 the Beach Boys. 16 was the Beach Boys Loves You. And just missing out on this particular one was Sunflower. So we start at number 14. So coming in at number 14 is the 14th album, believe it or not. And it was released in 1968, and it is called Friends. On here is Al Jardine, Bruce Johnson, Brian Wilson, Carl Wilson, Dennis Wilson, Marilyn Wilson and Murray Wilson. All Wilsons. So the first track on here is called Meant For You. It's a very short piano piece, but it's got some nice harmonies thrown in there. It's only about 38 seconds, but it's quite nice. But that leads nicely into my favourite song on here called Friends. It's not a bad song, very pleasant. It does need a little bit more oomph, I think, but what makes this song is actually the harmonies. They're wonderful on that track. Then we get Wake the World, a very short, sharp track. It's quite good. I don't know if they ran out of where to take it, but it made it, if it had been a bit longer, I think it would have been made a really good song. Be Here in the Morning comes next. Sometimes I feel when you listen to the Beach Boys, they haven't changed their formula one bit. And sometimes it does get a little bit repetitive, and this is one of those songs, unfortunately. Then they do a version of When a Man Needs a Woman. It's okay. Passing By, quite boring. It just meanders along. It's got no energy. Everyone seems to be, oh, we're doing another song for this album type thing. Then we get Anna Lee, The Healer. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's outstanding. It's a very short track. Little Bird. Oh, another track that's a little bit bleh. Be Still. It's fun. It's short. Wonder what if they'd have carried on with it, how far it would have gone. Be Busy Doing Nothing. Good song. It's one of the best songs on the album. Diamond Head. It's just one of these meandering sort of tracks. It's pleasant enough, don't get me wrong. It's an instrumental man as well, and it's pretty good. And then we get Transcendental Meditation. It's okay. Really mixed bag album. Again, you know, there are some of these later 60s albums that have got some good tracks on them. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.1. Okay, then coming in at number 13, we have the 15th album, released on February the 10th, 1969, and it's called 20 out of 20. It's called 20 out of 20 because it's their 20th album overall when they're factoring live albums and compilations. So it's Al Jardine, Bruce Johnson, Brian Wilson, Carl Wilson, Dennis Wilson. First track on it is called Do It Again. I like this. This is quite groovy. For the period of time they were recording, I quite like that. I Can Hear Music's the next track. Probably I'd say the last of the great classic songs by the Beach Boys. It's a really good track. Lovely harmonies. I like that track. Bluebirds Over the Mountain. I like the guitar work in this. It's got a pretty good guitar solo in it as well. Be With Me. It's okay. Just needs a little bit more oomph in it somewhere. Just to give it a little bit more sparkle. Okay. All I Want to Do. Quite rocky. It's a really rocky number. One of the beefiest numbers on this album. It's pretty good. The Nearest Faraway Place. Bit wishy-washy for me. It just plods again. One of them plodders. Then we get Cotton Fields. I like this song. We got an honourable mention in my top 10 songs by the Beach Boys. It's one of the better tracks on this album. I really like this. I Went to Sleep. Yeah, it makes you want to go to sleep. It's not very interesting. It's a good job it's only 1 minute and 36 seconds long. Time to Get Alone. Nice catchy tune. After the next one, the previous one, you needed something to wake you up, and this does. Really good track. Never Learn Not to Love. A fun track for me. I like this. It's got a little bit to it. Our Prayer. The harmonies are good, but it's not a very inspirational song for me. Then we get the last track, Cabin S. I like the banjo on there. It's a little bit country yeehaw sort of thing. Once again, we got some very good tracks on here, and some that are not memorable and they plod. But yeah, this is a pretty half decent album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.2. Okay then, coming in at number 12, we've got the 17th album from 1971 called Surf's Up. We've got Al, Bruce, Brian, Carl and Dennis. First track on this one is called Don't Go Near the Water. Quite like this. It's got a little bit to it, upbeat, nice structure, some really nice singing on this. Very good track to open the album. Long Promised Land. Not again. Quirky. I love the quirkiness of the keyboards on this. Really is a good track. Take a Load Off Your Feet. Quirky. It's different. They've gone away a little bit from what they usually do, and I think that's why it works. Disney Girls. Lack Something. Not very good. Then we got Student Demonstration Time, which is written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stroller. Great track, good old-fashioned rock and roll track. You can't go wrong when it's written by Lieber and Stroller. I wish they'd do more tracks like this on these albums. Feel Flows. It's very middle of the road. It's a pleasant song. It's not boring. It's just middle of the road. Looking at Tomorrow. Nice guitar work on here. Nice singing as always. There's nothing wrong with that. A Day in the Life of a Tree. Oh, this is terrible. Worst track on the album. Just does nothing for me. Till I Die. Pleasant enough track. Unfortunately, it doesn't rock my boat. Surf's Up, the last track. There's some horns on this. And I think the horns really do add to this. If it hadn't been from them horns, it would be a little bit of a mediocre song, but the horns just brightens it up. It's not a bad album, actually. I think this has got some quite good little rocky sort of style tracks on it, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.3. Okay then, coming in at number 11. We've got the 5th album from 1964. We're now starting to get into the real groovy stuff. And this is sort of the Beach Boys I like. And it's Shut Down Volume 2. So it's Al, Mike Love, Brian, Carl and Dennis Wilson. Opens up with the classic Fun, Fun, Fun. Favourite track on here, of course. I do like this track. And I actually like the version that Coupe did with them. Because they wrote an extra verse. Pretty good song. Don't Worry Baby. I love this song. It's just one of my favourite songs on here. It's a lovely tune. In the Parking Lot, nice harmonies, just a solid Beach Boys track. Cassius Love versus Sonny Wilson. It's a sketch. Boys, stick to the music. You're not comedians. You never will be. You think it's funny, but a lot of us say, nah. The Warmth of the Sun. It's okay. They've sort of gone to the dreariness. It's starting to creep in here. Yeah, it's not my favourite track on there. Cara Mine is, though. I like this. It's got this real boogie feel to it, and it's really lifts you up. Great little surf track. Why do fools fall in love? I just wish the Beach Boys would not do covers, because they just can't do them. It's not a very good version. And then we get Pom Pom Playgirl. I think it's sort of a bit of a rehash of Fun. It's a very short track, but it's fun. Keep an Eye on Summer. They're starting to go away from their surf sound on this. It's okay. Shut Down Part 2. A little instrumental. Some great guitar work on this. And then they do another cover of Louie Louie from the Kingsmen. Give me Motorhead's version any day. And then Denny's drums, and it's just Dennis playing the drums. Good album. Just missed out on the top 10, but it has got some very bad covers and that stupid sketch on there. So I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, we've reached the top 10. Now, these are the 10 albums I actually own. Oh, I have got a copy of I have got Shut Down Volume 2 on I had it on a dodgy CD that someone recorded for me, and it's on my iPod. But the top 10 are all on my iPod. So coming in at number 10, we have the 13th album from 1967, and it is Wild Honey. We have got Al, Bruce, Brian, Carl, and Dennis. The first track is the title track, Wild Honey. I've always liked this track. I just like the harmonies, and the guitar work is pretty good on this one. I do like it. Then we get Aren't You Glad? It's one of them quirky pianos, and I love the quirky piano that when the Beach Boys put it, really starts you off in a good mood. I Was Made to Love Her, never been keen on this. It's another cover. All the less we say about that, the best, I think. Country Air, nice arrangement. I love this song. It's got that old style sound to it. Really good. A Thing or Two, Love. Sorry, A Thing or Two. Love is written by Mike Love. Oh, yeah. Quite good. I like the singing in this. Really good. Darling. Good track. Nice, solid track. I just love to see you want. Shall we start again? I'd love to just see you. Little rock and roll thing, nice acoustic guitar. Not a bad little track either. Then we got my favourite track on here. It's Here Comes the Night. It's got that old style Brian singing on this. Really good song. Let the Wind Blow. Not one of my favourites. How She Boogalooed It. Very good track. That surf sound. Short, sharp, really good. Then we got Mama Says. The wonderful harmonies come through on this. And this is what makes Beach Boys songs. They're wonderful harmonies. I've always considered this one of their last really good albums. This is where that new sound did start creeping in. But on the whole, this is a really good album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, then coming in at number 9. Got the 8th album from 1965, The Beach Boys Today. So this is Al, Art Jardine, Mike Love, Brian, Carl and Dennis Wilson. It opens up with a cover, which is not a bad cover. It's Do You Wanna Dance? I prefer Cliff's version though. But it's not bad. It's one of their better covers, I'd say. Good to My Baby. I like this. It's a real uplifting song. Nice singing on it as always. Really solid song. Don't Hurt My Little Sister. A solid track. When I Grow Up to Be a Mum. One of the greats. One of the top 20 songs of the Beach Boys. Some lovely harmonies in this. Then we get Help Me Rhonda. Now this is a remix. It doesn't matter, it's a great song. That's all we'll say. Then we get Dance, Dance, Dance. Lovely little rock track this is. Great stuff. Please Let Me Wonder. One of the real good ballads. Really strong song. Some wonderful singing on this. Just one of their great ballads. So I'm Young. With that 50s swing to it. Good track. Kiss Me Baby. Another really good ballad. This period of their time, they were writing some really good ballads, and I do like that one. She Knows Me Too Well. I love the guitar work on this. Absolutely amazing. In the Back of My Mind, probably the weakest track on here. It seems to lack something. Bull Session with Big Daddy. Again, it's just talking about ordering burgers. Why do they put this nonsense on their albums? Because it's not funny. Not a bad album, actually, apart from there's a couple of tracks. I don't really care what they had for lunch. Didn't need that. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we have the third album, released in September the 16th, 1963, Surfer Girl. Doesn't say who plays on here, but I'm sure it's the Wilson brothers and Alan Mike Love. So the first track is the title track, Surfer Girl. This is a nice, dreamy surf song. Some lovely harmonies on this as well. Pretty good track. Then we get Catch a Wave. Quite a popular song this. I like this. It's got a quirky sort of rock and roll feel to it. Some nice harmonies, but the highlight of this is that quirky keyboard through the track. The Surfer Moon. It's got that sort of plinky plonky strings, I call them. Nice song though. Really well put together. South Bay Surfer. Dennis had a bit of a drum frenzy at the beginning of this. It's a great fun song. Solid track. Okay, then we get an instrumental called The Rockin' Surfer. Another sort of Wipeout style song. I like the quirky keyboards in this as well. Then we get Little Deuce Coupe, which we'll talk about later. In My Room. One of them sort of great little 60s ballads. Nothing wrong with that one. Absolutely good. Then we get a track called Hawaii. Now this has got a real up-tempo drumming from Dennis. Lovely harmonies again. Surfer's Roar. It's got that classic 60s guitar solo sound on it. Really good. Then we get Our Car Club, which we'll talk about in a bit. Then we have a track called Your Summer Dream. Really nice, a gentle sort of acoustic at the start. Some lovely drumming again on this. Pretty good. And then we get the last track, which is my favourite track. And it's called Boogie Woody. Lots of honky-tonk rock and roll piano. Such a great little track. Really good album. It's got a couple of tracks that would appear on another album. But on the whole, it's a really good listen, this one is. Some lovely harmonies on this. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 7.1. Okay, then coming in at number 7, we got the fourth album from 1963, Little Deuce Coupe. Opens up with the title track, one of the classics. Love this song. stable of greatest hits Beach Boys albums. Fantastic song. Ballad of Old Betsy. Now, this is one song that I am not a fan of. I think it's a little bit dreary. Be True to Your School. I like this. It's got the harmonies are great. And it's layered. That's what I like about this. It's layered harmonies. And it's a nice tune, and it just goes well together. My favourite track on here is a little thing called Car Crazy Cutie. It's that really classic Beach Boys surf sound. Brilliant. Then we get Cherry Cherry Coupe. It's a little rock and roll track with some wonderful harmonies. It's only 1 minute 47, but I love it. 409. It's a song that was from their debut album. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Then we get Shut Down. I've always liked this. I love the bass line in this. It really is a good hook. Spirit America. One of the blips on the album. It's not very good for me. Our Car Club. Great, good old-fashioned surf rock. Love that. No Go Showboat. Wonderful harmonies. Just when the Beach Boys was getting to the peak of their sort of popularity, that sound was just coming through nicely. A Young Man Is Gone. One of them songs that needs a little bit more to it, but the harmonies are very strong in this. Custom Machine, the last track, just a great rock track. Very good album, lots of great surf songs on here. Just one of them great albums. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, then coming in at number 6, we've got the 12th album from 1967, and it's Smiley Smile. Al Jardine, Mike Love, Bruce Johnson, and we've got Brian, Carl, and Dennis Wilson. I like this first track, Heroes and Villains. My favourite track of this sort of period. A lifting track, some great singing. Vegetables. This is a silly song, but I actually like it. It's quite fun. Then we get Fall Out, Back to Winter, the Woody Woodpecker Symphony. Strange song, it's an instrumental, very psychedelic. I like it. She's Going Bold. I quite like that. It's strict back song. Sort of probably one of the first unpluggy type songs. I love the bongos in this. Then we get a track called A Little Pad. Nice acoustic number. It's a nice vocal between Carl and Brian, actually. Really good song. And then we get the best ever song by the Beach Boys. Good Vibrations. Released in 1966 as a single, but didn't appear until this album. It's a stonking track. The best track they ever did. With Me Tonight, good little rock track, some fine harmonies on this one. Wind Chimes, again, harmonies are good, but if it weren't for the singing on this, it'd be quite mediocre. Getting Hungry, really like this track. It's got a quirky little keyboard that lifts the track. It sort of keeps coming in and out. It really is. It's quite psychedelic as well. Wonderful. I like the echo on this towards the end. And then it went all silly. And whistling, quirky. The highlight is the whistling. A very good album. Got my favourite track on ever. I do like listening to this, even though it's got a couple of tracks that are below par for me, but it's got some quirky fun tracks on it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, coming in at number 5. We go back to the debut album, released in 1962, Surfin Safari. Opens up with the title track. It's a very basic song, but it's fun. Nice, very basic rock and roll surf song, but great. Country Far. Again, it's just rock and roll with a bit of harmonies, and there's nothing wrong about that. 10 Little Indians, interesting track. Yes, it's only short. Chug-a-lug. They wrote some silly songs with some silly lyrics. in the early days, but it's got a groovy keyboard solo in it. It's very good. Then we get Little Girl, You're My Miss America, actually written by Herb Albert and Vincent Cantallo. It's a nice little track. I like their version of it. Then we get 409 again. This is the better version. There's not some. This is just a basic version. The other version, they thought about it too much and they didn't need to. It's good as it is. Surfing, very simple sort of thing. Lots of nice singing, very basic, very raw, but good. Heads you win, tails I lose. Lots of drumming on this. It's got that little bit of wipeout sort of drumming on it, and the classic harmonies of the Beach Boys. Summertime Blues, Eddie Cochran number, and I think this is probably their best ever cover. They didn't change it. It's very good. Cuckoo Clock, great drumming on here. Weird tempo, but really strong. My favourite track on here is Moondog. It's an instrumental as well. I just love this arrangement. It is quirky. Then we get The Shift. Yeah, nice little track to end the album. A very good debut album. You could see it was very basic, but you could see where they were going to go with it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 4, we've got the second album from 1963, 25th of March, and it's Surfin U.S.A. Opens up with Surfin U.S.A., one of their first big hits. I love this sound. It's just got a great ring to it. Fantastic song, nice harmonies, rock and roll. Co-written by Chuck Berry, believe it or not. Then we get Farmer's Daughter. Great, wonderful lead from Brian, and everyone else does their bit. It's a really nice song. Quirky, short track. Then we got Miss Lou. It's an instrumental. My second favourite track on here. And it's a bit of music that was done by Dick Dale and the Deltones and famously used in Pulp Fiction. I'll put it at the end of the playlist because if you not know the title, you'll know the tune. I love that little tune. Then we get Stoked, another instrumental. I do like a 60s instrumental. I like this. There's some nice drumming in this. Lonely Sea, love this song. It's always been one of my favourites. It's a great vocal from Brian. Shut Down. It's got that wonderful surf sound. Absolutely brilliant. Noble Surfer, not too bad. Some real deep harmonies on here. And there's I think there's a xylophone in there somewhere. Then we get another cover, Honky Tonk, a Bill Doggett song. And I think this is a good cover. Their early covers are better than their later covers. Lana, bit wishy-washy for me. Another instrumental called Surf Jams. But this is, I'd say, the Beach Boys' answer to Wipeout. Everything you like about it. Then we have another Dick Dale track. Instrumental, Let's Go Trippin'. Another good track. I like it. Finders Keepers, a bit of honky tonk piano, which absolutely smashes it through the roof. Absolutely brilliant. I think this was a little bit better than the debut. They started to get into a rhythm. There's some great instrumentals on here and some great covers. It's a really, really good album. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, the top 3. There's not much between these 3 at all. I just think these are the 3 best Beach Boys albums ever put out. So, coming in at number 3, we have the 6th album released July '64, All Summer Long. Opens up with a classic, I Get Around. Sang in a little bit of Around, quirky, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant track. All Summer Long. Very quirky, some xylophone on this track, which gives it that little bit of a zing. Then they do a version of Hushabye. It's probably it's a really good cover. Not a bad version of that. Little Honda, good rock track. My second favourite track on here. Great vocals. We Will Run Away, solid track. Cole's Big Chance, an instrumental with a great bass line that drives the song along. Then we get Wendy, just solid. You know, it does what it says on the tin. Do You Remember? Bit of rock and roll, mentions Great Balls of Fire in it. Girls on the Beach, bit of a surfer song. Got Brian doing the lead. Dennis sings on it as well, some nice harmonies. Then we have Drive In, great little rock and roll track with a little bit of Motown thrown in at the side, just to give it a little bit of difference. Our favourite recording sessions. This just spoils the flow. They just have a gas and it's not very good at all. Don't Back Down. It's a shame they put that 2 minutes of waffling, because they should have cut that and just go to Don't Look Back. I tend to skip track 5 and go straight to this. It's a good track to end. After the gobbly waffle, they needed something strong to come back on. A very strong album. Great songs here. Full of classics. Absolutely top drawer stuff this is. It's alright, I've lost my place. Oh, I did. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. I hate it when it freezes. Okay, top 2. Here we go. Coming in number 2 from 1966. Pet Sounds, the 11th album. That'll shock a lot of people. There'll be lots of people going, like he's number 1. So it's Al Jardine, Bruce Johnson, Mike Love, Brian Wilson, and Dennis Wilton. Guests on here: Tony Asher, Tony Melcher, Marilyn Wilson, and Tony surname unknown on tambourine on Soup. I like that. So it opens up with a classic, Wouldn't It Be Nice? I love this. It's the way it goes into it. Chugs along wonderfully. Some lovely harmonies on this. Absolutely killer track. Then we go into You Still Believe Me. Nice, gentle track. Lovely arrangement. A lot of thought went into this album. The sounds were great. We got some harpsichord coming through this. I love this. It's so gentle. That's Not Me. Some lovely sort of church organ on it. A bit of rock guitar. The percussion comes in. Another brilliant track. Don't Talk. Put your head on my shoulder. I like it when the drums come in here. It's very slow and melodic, and it's very hard to keep that beat. I keep saying, great track. I'm Waiting for the Day. Quirky little number. I like the start of this. It's a song, if you're feeling down, put this on. It just gives you plenty of positive vibes. Let's Go Away for a While. I've always thought, I've said this I think before, it's got a bit of jazz feel to it, and then some Hawaiian. You imagine people in the glass skirts and the brightly coloured shirts. Really good track. Then they have Sloop B John, one of the classics. I love this song. That's all I can say. I just love it. Then we have a wonderful track, God Only Knows. Absolutely wonderful. It's a uplifting love song, and I think it's wonderful. I Know There's an Answer. Love this track as well. It's quirky. The keyboards are going some lovely harmonies here today. It's got a great bass line, and the brass comes in, a little bit of saxophone. Solid track. I Wasn't Made for These Times. Some flute on this. Probably the best harmony on the album. It's a great track. Pet Sounds, the instrumental. It's totally forgotten about, but it's very clever, very for its time. Brian Wilson really pushed the boat out on that and getting this track together. Caroline, no, some wonderful harmonies on this. This is a track you need to listen to under the headphones. Okay, this is one of the great American albums of the 60s. Okay, it's not a raunchy, rocky album. There's a lot of nice, soulful songs on here, but it's a really nice balance. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. But my number one album is their 9th album from 1965, Summer Days and Summer Nights. Al Jardine, Mike Love, Brian Wilson, Carl Wilson and Dennis Wilson. Opens up with the girl from New York City. Good rock and roll track. And what I like about it, they throw in a little bit of that Motown sound as well. So you got the combination of a rock and roll Motown, really good track. Amusement Parks USA, really good track. Very uplifting. Love the organ on this. Fantastic little track. Then I Kissed Her, a sort of, instead of Then He Kissed Me, it's like on the male sort of thing. Not a bad version of it, to be quite honest. Salt Lake City, good song. I love the piano. It's a little twinkly thing that's in the background. It really, you seem to be listening to that and more on what's going on in the foreground because it's quite catchy. Girl Don't Tell Me, acoustic guitars on this are wonderful. I love this song. Then we get Help Me Rhonda, the better version of it. It's more fuller, the harmonies are better. Favourite track on this album. California Girls, another classic by the Beach Boys. Let Him Run Wild. The bass line and the percussion on this are very good. You're So Good to Me, one of my favourite songs on this album. One of the deep cut tracks off this album. It's just got some lovely singing and the keyboards in this is wonderful. Then we have an instrumental called Summer Means Love. Really nice gentle instrument. Probably one of their best instrumentals. Now this track, it's got two titles on the but on the album it's I'm Buggered at My Old Man, and on the back cover it says Too Embarrassed. Interesting track, bit of tongue-in-cheek. I love the piano in this. It's absolutely a fun track, absolutely fun. Then we get And Your Dream Comes True. Got some of my favourite harmonies ever by the Beach Boys. It's so, the harmonies, you can pick out the high, the low. It just sounds wonderful, especially under headphones. And it's a great way to end this album. As I said, there's not much between Summer Days and Pet Sounds, to be quite honest. Probably a smidge. But I think what edges this is that Pet Sounds is a very complicated, structured album. This is more basic, and I think the songs are just sound a lot better. Okay, there's going to be a lot of controversial over this, but this just sounds a lot better for me. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.4. So there we go, a big long one. And I think you can see that my favourite era of Beach Boys is them 60s. Their later stuff was a little bit repetitive, but they're still a very important band in music history. Okay, that's all for today. We have had that little bonus earlier though with Mike's birthday top 10. But tomorrow, Mike is on the agenda again in Battle Royale. and he's got PJ Harvey's Is This Desire, and he's up against Charles and Tortor. So that's tomorrow, and also tomorrow we have got Mixing It Up, and we're going to look at the albums produced by a fine gentleman called Roy Thomas Baker. So that's all coming tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.